You're listening to the Slow Ride Podcast. Bikes, advice, and rumors straight from the source. TheSlowRidePodcast.com and on Twitter at TheSlowRidePod. Enjoy the ride.
Hello and welcome to the 256th episode of the Slow Ride Podcast. From the Windy City, this is Tim Hayes.
All right. From the Tea Party City? I don't know. What do you call Boston?
Well, we can go the Tea Party City. I'm just going to say, to our one UK listener, the US did their best of sipping tea today when they destroyed them in the semifinal.
Yeah, that did happen. Anyway, over here in Boston, where I'm not enjoying tea currently, this is Spencer.
Oh, Spencer, there's so much to discuss, so little time, lots of bike racing to talk about, obviously all the national championships. We have Tour de France, some Giro de Rosa action.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we have unnecessary equipment press releases being sent out, and all types of things to discuss. But Spencer, I want to start off with one of the biggest news that hit our waves. The end of an era.
Yeah.
Mark Cavendish not going to the Tour de France for Team Dimension Data.
Oh, it breaks the heart, doesn't it? Obviously he's been around forever. He's been a staple at the pointy end of the peloton on that boring first week. He knows how to make things exciting. But the biggest question left now is who will take the brunt of Peter Sagan's elbow?
Dylan Groenewegen. Groenewegen.
I think he might be a little too far up the road for the elbow.
Oh, okay. Well, then it's Wout van Aert.
Yeah, there you go.
Kind of just in that secondary area. But Spencer, things must not be going well for Mark Cavendish if he can't even make the Team Dimension Data Tour de France squad.
Yeah, when you put it like that, it sounds pretty brutal.
Roman Kreuziger made the squad.
Mm-hmm. Now,
he did not.
Now, we all know Cav has had his struggles for the last couple of years with some health issues, but he took it in stride. He took it like a pro. He had a series of tweets that really spelled it out, and was like, "Hey, I'm crushed. Like, I tried to be my best for this time of year, but good for the team. Like, I want the team to do the best possible. Blah blah blah." And it's a far cry from the Cav that we know and love, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
It's just, I'm kind of disappointed he's not.
I miss the fire.
I like Mark Cavendish, older, more mature Mark Cavendish. Anyway, so he's not there. So that was a little sad. But the rest of the team start lists have started to come out, and I got to say, a little disappointed that Carlos Betancourt will not be there to showcase his skills and help Nairo Quintana to the top step of
obviously
the podium.
In pristine form too, and
top 10 at the Tour de Suisse.
Huge oversight on the side of on the side of Movie Star there.
Now, earlier this week, Spencer, we did our Let It Ride podcast over talkaboutRollerDerby.com. Encourage everyone to go over there. That was kind of our attempt to preview the Tour de France in a way that's fun for us with our fantasy cycling. But Spencer, I continue to be a member of the Fantasy Cycling League here in Orlando, where we do the drafts. Now, I can't do the draft this week because I'm here in Chicago on vacation. But I got a question for you. If you had first pick, would you go the Peter Sagan route, like pretty much guaranteed green jersey, guaranteed a slew of top 10s on stages? Or do you go like straight up Geraint Thomas or an all?
I think
like where do you go? Like what would be your choice if you were in my shoes?
Yeah, I see what you're saying. And I think I understand your reasoning for all three of those options that you laid out. And if I had the number one draft pick in a fantasy cycling draft for the Tour de France, none of the three of those would be my top pick. I just want to put that out there. Bernal could, I could be like maybe argued into that, but I don't think so. Geraint Thomas, good pick, solid pick. Of course, Peter Sagan, totally solid pick. I don't think he's a lock for the green jersey though. I think that's going to be an interesting one in 2019. Now,
who do you got up against?
It could break so many ways. I'm very excited to see what the upstarts like Wout van Aert do. I think there's the Alaphilippes of the world might have something to say about this. I think it's going to be an interesting race.
Can I tell you one thing I'm really, really happy about?
What's that?
Peter Sagan is not the national champion of was it?
I don't know. I mean, I was looking at the results just really briefly, and I'm pretty sure I saw Sagan in the number one slot.
Yep, that was his brother. So Peter Sagan totally orchestrated his brother's victory. Yeah. But I gotta say, do you know why I'm really happy, Spencer?
Oh, why?
Because now Valverde will be the only one wearing a world championship jersey in the professional peloton of the Tour de France.
That's true.
That ugly jersey that Sagan got away with the really wide stripes was a little confusing.
Do you? I saw somewhere that this is the first time he's ever starting the Tour de France in his trade team kit.
So John Senham on the Facebook group hit us up. Will anyone recognize Peter Sagan? He hasn't worn a standard jersey since 2011.
That's crazy.
So I'm curious as to, do you think he even has any for his training? Like they probably had to go to, I don't even know who their manufacturer of kit is at Bora.
I'm not sure.
I'm sure they had to like really dig up some kit for him.
Yeah. Hard to say.
What size are you again? Because usually we just give you what the race manufacturers give you.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't even wear last year's, He can't just pull it out of the hamper and go with that. He has no options. So maybe he can borrow some of his brother's kit.
So, how long do you think it took before a little guy called me about the Belgian National Championship road race?
I would say within minutes of the finish.
Yeah. Less than 2 days ago was when the finish was. And almost right away, I just got this sweet message, and all it was just a whispering, MVP, MDVP, MVP, MDVP, MVP. And I'm like, oh my God. And then I look, and what do you know? Tim Merlier of Corridon Circus wins the Belgian National Championship over Timothy Dupont, Wout van Aert in third. How awesome is that? Yet again, another cyclocross superstar on this Corridon team, and now they have the Belgian national champion and Mathieu van der Poel.
It's pretty impressive, and what's most impressive about that sprint, if you've seen the video, is how Wout got himself boxed in, because really he should have won that race, and he just did himself in. Unfortunately, wrong place, wrong time, but Tim Merlier taking advantage of a bad situation might be the first time. I'll have to check Pro Cycling Stats or crossresults.com to see, but it might be the first time he's ever beat Wout van Aert.
Oh, yeah, probably. But what a time to do it. I don't know. It's pretty cool that he won, and he just recently signed to. Oh yeah,
like a month ago. Circus. He's only riding for them for the road. He's back to his trade team for cyclocross, but he is showed himself to be a strong MVP.
And then friend of the podcast, Taylor Jones, pointed out also that Team Bora has something like 7 national champions now. Because they got the Slovakian champion. Have 5. They've got the Irish champion in Sam Bennett, right? They have the Austrian champion in Patrick Conrad. Yep. And then they also have the Italian champion, David Formolo. Yep.
Yeah,
Maximilian Schaumann of Germany won. That's 5.
They totaled out with 5. QuickStep.
Now let's see what QuickStep has. QuickStep has
3. They only came out with 3, and everyone else comes out with 1. So those two teams far away.
They've already got. Yeah. QuickStep's got 3.
Yeah.
Because they got the Belgian and the Dutch champion. You're right, or a Danish champion. Sorry. So okay, that's pretty impressive.
Pretty good. I mean, Education First only has one, but it's the one that matters.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that. So Alex Howes wins the U.S. Stars and Stripes National Championship jersey,
but
and then almost instantly,
couldn't
Facebook everywhere's going up. Spencer, is Dirty Kansas the new training for road national championships here in America?
Clearly not. He couldn't win Kansas.
I know, but it was just the base miles, right? Like he goes out there, he does that, and now he's ready. I gotta admit, I'm thinking we're gonna just see even more pros over in the Flint Hills of Kansas getting ready for their national championships.
Quite possibly, yeah. Maybe the alternative calendar had something to it.
And then, did you see friend of the podcast, Tom Skuns, with a 2-minute victory to win the Latvian national championship?
Yeah. As we know, that was one that's been on his radar for a while.
Okay. Here's my question, Spencer. We've seen a lot of these national championship kits before, right?
Yep.
I may be most excited for what Trek Segafredo puts together for the Latvian national champion, because if you look, the flag of Latvia, it's kind of got the, it's almost like a maroon top, white middle, and then a maroon bottom again. It kind of matches the Trek jersey, but they need to change the color just enough, and then you'd have a sweet kind of team clash thing going on that you're like, ooh, did Tom's leave his jersey in the wash a little bit too long? Like, what's going on if they go that route?
There's a lot of possibility there, and I think they have a couple things working in their favor. That Trek has put in the effort to design kits lately, which is great to see. But also, Tom's is willing to try some weird things, I think. And that collabo, that hot collab, will drop sometime soon. And like you, I can't wait to see it.
Well, it's going to have to drop at the Tour de France. Now, I'm very excited for that. So congrats out to Tom's. Little guy was obviously dancing in his Sunday shoes even more with Warren Barguil winning the French national championships. We're going to get
that was incredible,
pretty good looking French national champion kit for the Arkea team.
Yeah. Now, have you heard the special Tour de France jersey news from Yellow Lotto?
No, I have not. Drop it on me, Spencer.
So they have a new kit they're unveiling for the Tour de France. Specifically, now it is still yellow, so not that much of a departure, but it's less yellow. It's more black, more pronounced black. Still yellow front, yellow back, but much more black on the sides and arms and all that kind of situation going on. So they're trying to dull it down a little bit out of respect for the Tour, I guess. It's not a rule. That's one of the big common misconceptions. Everybody's always like, oh, Yellow Lotto, can't believe they just flaunt and wear that yellow. Like, Once started this back in the day by swapping to pink.
It was awesome.
It was awesome, but they just did that for the publicity stunt, and obviously it worked very well. There is no rule that you can't wear a yellow kit, or that you can't have yellow in your kit. Just doing it out of one of those unwritten or respect for the game kind of rules, So Yellow Lotto, sticking to that, using the opportunity to roll out something quote unquote new, kind of the same.
It sounds like it's going to be the same. I'm a little disappointed, Spencer, that they're not going full pink. Just bring that back. Just co-opt it. But okay, something else has come up. We kind of skipped over this. So with Alex Howes winning the championship down there in Knoxville for Education First. How messed up is this kit gonna look?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I don't know how Rafa is gonna work tie-dye into the American flag livery here. And
I know that there's like standards apparently that USA Cycling has put in where they gotta follow a certain template. But Spencer, let's be honest here for a second. I'm kind of hoping this is rock racing level of national championship kit.
Yeah. I mean, leave it to Rafa to throw the rules out the window, right? Like, who's going to stop them, really? Like, they make the kit, right? Like,
I know.
He is the national champion, so what are they going to do? Fine him? Like 50 Swiss francs? They'll pay it,
Yeah,
like,
they probably will.
I'm thinking, I'm envisioning some sort of Grateful Dead-esque motif here with like a lot of swirls, a lot of tie-dyes, something that little guy would be very excited about.
So also we had the women's road race national championship in the U.S., and that was Ruth Winder of Trek Segafredo, and she is actually going to Giro de Rosa. So we're going to have a pretty solid team there for Trek Segafredo. When that race starts on the 6th, so that's Saturday. I already put 25 points on Trek Segafredo over at Roller Derby, right?
Yeah.
Because it's Ruth Winder winning, and just I don't know if you saw the team announcement that came from Tom Skunes was pretty hilarious.
That was very good. Yeah.
So like, I'm pretty excited for this team and what they're going to bring. And the best part is there are going to be so much incentives on this team to do well, because Trek is actually broadcasting coverage of the event daily for an hour. So that's pretty awesome during the Tour de France on their website for free. So I know this sounds like an ad for Trek, but it's kind of hard not to do it when they're giving you free cycling content, and it's women's bike racing, which promises to be usually better than the men's a lot of the time.
Especially that first week of the Tour. So that alignment works out pretty well for the Giro Rosa. But speaking of her win, Ruth's win at US Nats, I don't know if you had a chance to watch that, or if I think you were traveling up there to your vacation at the time, but that race was stellar. If anybody, I think it's archived on YouTube there on the USA Cycling channel. You guys should go check it out if you need some material to watch. It's a very good chase to the finish. She gets caught by a couple chasers, and then it splits up again and comes back together and splits up, and then the peloton's coming, and are they going to catch her? And like, it comes down to the wire, and it's a very good race, even if you know who won. So check that one out.
Well, then it was Corinne Rivera coming up there at the end to almost catch her. But, well, yeah, I'll have to check that out, Spencer. I was traveling, so it was pretty cool to see that Ruth won, and obviously hitting some good form going into the biggest stage race on the women's calendar. So very exciting times indeed. So we're very happy for that. But yeah, overall, I think it was a pretty eventful national championship weekend. Lots of good kits will be at the Tour de France naturally.
Oh yeah.
So overall, I'm looking forward to the Tour. Spencer, off the top of your head, what else you got? Do you have a podium that you're willing to share?
Well, yeah, I feel like we went on a tangent somewhere around minute 1, and we've ended up here because you asked me, who I forget, like, who you should draft first in your Tour de France, and I never really got to answer that question.
I got us on Segway Street.
Yeah, you got us down Segway Street, and we've taken a couple wrong turns, and we've ended up back where we began. Here, where I'm gonna say, I have come full circle. I did not believe this even as recently as maybe 2 weeks ago, but now I am fully 100% in belief that Nairo Quintana is going to win this Tour de France. Yes. I hate to admit that you've been on this train the whole time, but I think it's just dumb luck that you're correct in this. And mine is based on analytics and a little bit of gut instinct, but there's a lot of high mountains in the last week on this route. It's going to be very, very tough. I think Quintana has got the right level of experience, the right level of, let's just say, lowered competition in some aspects, even though there is plenty of competition. And I think he can bring it to Bernal. I don't think Bernal it has what it takes to dispatch Quintana.
Okay, a couple things here. One, well done, Spencer. I like how you have jumped on the Nairo victory train.
Yeah.
I must admit, I'm surprised that for you putting so much faith into a guy that you don't even feel is a surefire first ballot Hall of Famer in the Slow Ride Podcast Cycling Hall of Fame.
And I still don't. But if he wins this tour, he might be.
Spencer, this guy is a surefire first ballot Hall of Famer. He's a multi-time Grand Tour winner, but that's a tangent. That being said, I'm very excited for Nairo. I think that, again, this is the only opportunity he has left to win the Tour de France.
Yes.
Next year, Bernal is going to be 23. I will be putting lots of points on Nairo Quintana to win the Tour de France over on roller derby. However, I'm also going to be betting a fair amount of points on Geraint Thomas to win, just because Team Sky is Team Sky.
Yeah.
They're owned by the plastics baron now. They went from Rupert to this other guy. It's tough to bet against the bad guys. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, that's one way to do it, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. I think those wily veterans like Quintana and like Nibali actually will both see this as a great opportunity, and they're both they're sneaky enough, they're savvy enough to ride into form by week 3, let these kids tire themselves out, and just take minutes back from people.
I just want to point out, Nairo's team for the Tour is amazing. He's got Landa, who has gone all in to helping out Nairo, right?
Yep.
Valverde, who Johnny Hanal hits us up and lets us know, cyclingweekly.com article, that Alejandro Valverde says he's the thinnest he's ever been ahead of the Tour de France. And this is a guy that just signed a 2-year contract extension.
Yeah.
So, Valverde's doing well. You've got Marc Soler, always there.
Yep.
Oliveira, the Portuguese climber, and then you got Andre Amador as well. I've always been on the Amador train.
Yeah.
Very exciting times there. There's a roller derby prop right now of who's going to be the top Colombian, because there's 4 fantastic Colombians in the Tour this year. All are arguably their team leaders. You have Nairo, Rigoberto Urán, and then obviously you have Bernal.
Yep.
So it's Sergio Hernal over at UAE Team Emirates. So, I mean, you've got some stacked riders in here. Nairo's team is pretty damn strong.
It is a very strong team. It may be stronger than Ineos. I guess that's kind of the argument every year is who brings more firepower, but without Froome, without that little extra oomph, I gotta tip the scales to Movistar this year for sure. The only way to make this better is to add a little gummy bear, and but I don't even know who you'd take out of that squad to put him in.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, yeah. So anyway, that's very exciting. I'm keen on the Tour de France starting up here in a couple days' time. Yeah. I'm excited for it.
I'm definitely the most excited for a Tour de France that I've been in a few years. I will say that.
Okay. The one thing I want to talk about before we get into the Preem Lap, though, Spencer, has Team Ineos taken it too far with this muck-off sponsorship, like £6,000 or $1 chain? Did you hear about this? It's going to save them 10 watts. 10 watts for £6,000.
Yeah, that's that ratio is not great. Not great for anyone. I'm not sure who benefits from that. Okay, Muck-Off's getting a lot of column inches here written about them, a lot of digital press, but I don't think they're going to make any sales.
Okay, so we're talking about Muck-Off supposedly has this chain that takes hours to put together because you have to bake and heat up the oven, the lube, to penetrate all of the bushings of the chain, which eventually is going to make it a very smooth drivetrain, which saves you 10 watts. They used this for Bradley Wiggins back in the day, and they claim that it gave him an extra 300 meters for when he won the hour record over then Movistar rider Alex Dowsett. Okay, all that being said, I'm kind of disappointed in Muck-Off because I thought that they were the really cool company out there because they just had the full face helmet sponsorship of all the downhill guys. So they were like always really well done placement, and that horrible logo that looks just ripped off of a, like the back of a, like a bumper sticker kind of like bus thing. Yeah. And now all of a sudden they're dirtying the waters of hanging out with Ineos to this like science level that like, a 6,000-pound chain.
Well, see,
That's a heavy chain, Spencer.
it is a heavy chain now. I don't know if I don't know how many ounces that is, but or grams, but somebody will do the math on that for me. The thing about it is if you have a $6,000 chain, what other team in the Peloton are you going to sell that to? But it has to be Ineos. They're the only team with the budget, right?
That is true. They are the only ones with the budget. I just
you're not selling that to Direct Energy. You know what I mean?
Maybe the better question, Spencer, is what is the next product that's going to be taken to this level where it's just too expensive? Like, are we talking like pedal bearings, right? Like, we already know ceramic bearings exist, but what about ceramic pedal bearings?
No, I think you need new silk tubulars that are made straight from like some Argentine spider that's only found in the rainforest. Use their silk, and they're very venomous. So a couple of guys died trying to get enough silk for these tires, but they do save you 6.5 watts over 40K in perfect conditions. So,
I just can't wait to see someone on a group ride with some kind of chain that's like this, right? Like some kind of just setup where, oh man, I've got the $6,000 chain. Anyway, maybe I'll just go with the silk sew-ups. Yeah, that would be way cooler. But
first guy to walk into a bike shop who after buying a $6,000 chain and the mechanic looking at it and being like, "Wow, you rode this for like a couple 100 miles and didn't lube it once, did you, jerk?"
So Spencer, let's talk about Team Subweb going into the Tour de France. Their leader is a little-known sprinter, Michael Matthews.
Hi, my name is Lotta Lefister, and I'm listening to the Slow Ride podcast.
This podcast is supported by Health IQ, a life insurance company that celebrates the health conscious, including cyclists. Visit healthiq.com/WAP to learn more and get a free quote, or check out their life insurance FAQ to get your questions answered. Spencer, we have had Health IQ as a sponsor of the podcast for a long time.
Yeah.
Multiple years, like over a year for sure, because they continue to get special rates for all types of athletes, especially those that are active and health conscious people. And that is what makes them a little bit different. Because of that, their own research has shown that through exercise, you're going to have a much lower cancer risk, you're going to have a lower heart risk, and you're also going to have much lower risk of an early death, which makes you a much better candidate for life insurance. But take it from me, you need life insurance because who knows what's going to happen at any time. So you got to take care of your loved ones.
Yeah, you could be.
I give it up to Health IQ. They're pretty awesome.
Yeah, you can make a good poster for them. We may want to get in touch with their marketing department, see if they need some headshots from you or something. I think that could be a good revenue stream for you for building up the old college fund there for little Heimar.
That's a pretty good idea. I like that, Spencer. But head on over to healthiq.com/WAP to learn more and get a free quote and check out all the info that you could possibly want about life insurance because, again, it's an important thing to have. And with that, we'd like to thank their continued sponsorship. So,
absolutely.
There you go.
And thanks to everybody that does check them out. We really appreciate that. We also are brought to you this week by Whoop. You've heard us talk about them before. Yeah, Whoop, WHOOP.com. They are a fitness tracker that you wear on your wrist, and they're changing the way that folks are tracking fitness and optimizing their training, which is, something that you probably need to do if you're listening to this podcast. I'm guessing things are not optimal for you. Whoop, what they do is they provide a heart rate monitor that pairs to an app on your phone, and it gives you analytics about your recovery, about the strain you're putting on your body, and about your sleep, which are it's a lot more flushed out than a lot of the other apps out there and a lot of the other things you can get. So you're getting a full picture, and you can really get the most out of the training that you're doing, which is great. So anyway, Whoop Strap 3.0 is out. This is a thing that you go to their website, whoop.com, and pick out the one that looks best to you. Get your color scheme going. Just dial it in just right. They send you that strap for free, and then you sign up for a service, and we can save you 15% on that by using the code SLOWRIDE at checkout. And that'll get you 15% off that 12 or 18 month membership, whichever one you do. And I think you are going to enjoy it.
Major props to Whoop for coming out, and so easy to use, very low key, but it provides so much important data. So once again, thanks to Whoop. Just use code SLOWRIDE at checkout.
Yep. Tons of great feedback on that one. And finally, Shred Science Nutrition, personal favorite of mine, something that I've personally used and saw great results from. Nutrition.
I saw it firsthand because they did a great job of basically dialing in your entire diet, right? They took a look at what you were doing, and then they pretty much said, you're doing all this wrong. Follow us. We're the leaders here. We're going to tell you what's the best thing to
that's
fuel your body.
Completely wrong. They didn't tell me any of that. That's the nice thing about Shred Science Nutrition and their platform. Their strategy is they give you a custom program for each person. When you sign up, you're filling out this giant questionnaire. You're giving them all the information about what you're doing, what your goals are, what you're eating currently, how much you're riding, and they build a custom nutrition plan for you to help you meet your goals going forward.
Yes,
and break that down into your macros, what you're looking for as far as carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. So anyway, what you get from that, having that dialed thing and following that plan, is you get more overall energy, more energy for your training. You get improved recovery, which you can track on Whoop with your Whoop strap. You're going to have dramatically improved intensity for your races and your performance, whatever sport it is that you're doing. You're going to get improved body composition. You're going to lose fat, lean out, and you're going to have a much better power to weight ratio. So instead of spending $6,000 on a chain to save yourself 10 watts, you could just sign up for some Shred Science, get shredded, and produce those watts yourself and buy a $20 chain.
That's a way easier way to think of it, but
it's much easier, really, and easier to explain to your accountant and your tax people as well. So head over to shredsciencenutrition.com. Check out the programs they have. I vouch for this. It's great. And if you want to dig back in the archives of Cyclocross Radio, Carrie, the owner, did an interview with Bill on there a while ago. That is really, really good. So check that out. ShredScienceNutrition.com. And Tim, I think it's time to get back to the show.
Hi, I'm Hugh Carthy from Education First Pro Cycling, and I don't listen to the Slow Ride podcast.
Spencer, as you just heard, we were very lucky to get a great email this week from a friend of the podcast, Michael Stone. Hello, chaps. Your northwest of England correspondent reporting. After a week of not feeling well, I've managed to drag myself out to the local club ride in what passes for a summer day. Imagine my surprise when a rider wearing the Education Fit First kit turned up at the cafe stop. It turned out to be local lad Hugh Carthy having a rest after his recent exertions. Despite me congratulating him on a win in the Dauphiné instead of the Tour de Suisse,
Oops.
At least I got 11th in the Giro, correct? He came over and had a chat with us. Nice bloke. What's more, when I cheekily asked him if he listened to the pod, he said he didn't listen to pods, period. I said that's even better. Anyway, when I mentioned Mitch Docker had been on the show, he kindly agreed to record something for the Preem Lap, which I sent.
Awesome.
So, Mike, thanks for that. It's always nice to hear from professional cyclists that don't listen to the podcast.
Yep. And I'm glad that our UK correspondent was out there putting in the work that we've been paying him for so many years to do, and finally producing something amazing. So thank you.
Hey, guys. You are totally missing out on the whole vintage climb frame to add to your stable. Psychedelic color schemes are old hat. You need to keep up with the hipsters and start searching for the mantra. This is a climb worth the effort. Isolated rear triangle. Let's turn your single speed dual squishy. Nothing better. Loyal listener Doug Vreeling. Oh, Doug. I would say what is this? Once a quarter, Spencer, we get these emails about the old Klein mantra.
Yeah.
And we conveniently have to forget that the Klein mantra ever existed for about another quarter.
Yeah. It does say Klein on it. It is beautiful.
It is one of those bikes when I do see someone riding a mantra, I always I want to talk to them, but then I remember that they're riding a mantra for a reason that I will, they want me to talk to them that bad. That's why they're riding that bike.
That is the thing about that bike, isn't it?
They want to talk to you about the bike.
Yeah.
Because they know they're on the Klein mantra. So it's kind of like,
the thing is,
do you really want to talk to that guy that really wants to talk to you about how cool their bike is? After working in a bike shop and owning a bike shop, I have fallen down this rabbit hole many times. Cyclists really like to talk about their bikes, and sometimes you can get in a good conversation, but if it's a mantra, you're going to have a very long conversation.
I get it. But here's the thing. I hear what you're saying and I agree, but how different, this guy could be on a soft ride, but instead he chose a mantra. Doesn't that give him some level of oh, okay, all right, I see what you did there. You're a weirdo.
Half a step up on the soft ride.
Yeah, you're a total weirdo freak of nature, but you've got some sense of what's kind of cool.
It's a half step up on a soft ride and maybe half a step behind a penny farthing. Because I'm pretty sure a mantra rider probably also has a desire to ride a penny farthing in traditional garb around.
I don't know. I think of a mantra rider as more of someone that, wants to put on the old Daft Punk outfit and put neon lights on their bike and pretend they're on a light cycle. They're all about the future, not the past.
I will say this. The only saving grace of the mantra is that it was quadruple the size of surface for the paint job.
Oh,
right?
Yeah. That had to be the point, right?
You could bring that bike to the mall and get a pretty sweet airbrush job on the side of the mantra fuselage that was the top tube.
Yeah, for sure.
So thanks for that. Nate Chenenko, checks in. Now that Docker's in the Wide Angle Podium family, I propose a Trojan horse attack. Have Docker contact Hincapie to be on the Docker podcast. Hey, Big George, I'm a current pro tour rider you've heard of. I'd love for you to be on my podcast. When Big George joins, you ambush him with the 1-2 punch. Sure, it torches the brand, but really, what do you have to lose? This could be good. Now, we've been in contact to get Hincapie on the show, but it just never seems to work out. So maybe we do need Mitch to step up and make sure this happens.
He's a slippery one, that George.
Matt Baldwin checks in from Florida. Hey guys, just started out the pod this week and I heard Spencer say that Pro isn't available anymore. I bought the DVD years ago, but obviously lost track over the years. I spent some time doing some deep digging on the interwebs and found the full movie on YouTube. So pretty awesome for that. Thanks for the link, Matt.
Awesome.
I can't count how many times I've watched this. The arrogance in Chris Horner's interviews is only topped by the most amazing 45 seconds in bike history at exactly 1 hour, 31 minutes, 30 seconds with Horner's ascent on the Maniac Wall. Horner's move on the wall will go down in Philly history. For the first time ever, one rider is attacking. Lap 10, bottom to top.
Yep.
Just for reference, I know you guys thought that the narrator of that movie was actually on the podcast. It wasn't. It was just me reliving that moment.
Yeah, I didn't cut that in. That was actually Tim.
Yes, that did. And the montage has moto and overhead shots along with early 2000 rock soundtrack. Love those early interviews with Young Krieg, Sopro Jones, Eric Saunders. Awesome. Also went to Apopka a few weeks ago after hearing you talk about it on the pod. Who knew Central Florida had some great gravel grinding? Well, Matt, thanks again for the pod. Pretty stoked to see that sweet link for the Philly Pro and the movie Pro. But yeah, thanks again. Spencer, we finally got to the point where we have a question that needs to be answered. This comes from Florian Abrahamson, who we know is in Pensacola. Recently, I got passed by 2 riders wearing the Sagan World Champ kit top to bottom by about a kilometer an hour faster. So barely a full pass. Now, I do immediately have a question, Spencer. If you saw 2 riders wearing the Sagan World Champ kit on the same ride, like 2 of them together, like twinsies, how would you react to that?
I think I would just have to sit up, hands off the bars, and just clap.
I kind of want to see the photo of it.
It is beautiful. Like the gall to wear a full world championship kit on its own, like it takes a lot, but then, if you see somebody doing that, your first reaction is like, ugh, but 2 of them.
Well, that's
a whole nother level.
Is it like when that GIF that goes around on Twitter every now and then when Spider-Man sees Spider-Man? Like, right? Like if you show up at the
do you think
ride,
do you think they don't know each other and they just ran into each other at the coffee shop and were like, hey, nice kit. You want to go for a ride?
If I showed up in a pro team kit, now I'm a fan of the pro team kit. I like the movement of making pro team kits cool again. If I showed up at a ride and someone else is wearing the same exact world champion pro team kit, not that I would ever wear this, but if I would turn around and leave before they saw me.
So put it this way. If you showed up in your full pink Giro d'Italia, Liquid Gas, Danielo De Luca kit, which you do
classic
own.
Kit, Spencer. Every May I bring that thing out.
Yeah. So if you showed up to the group ride with that and someone else also had that kit, you would leave?
I think so. I think I would wait for everybody to be rolling out together. I'd show up and be like, "Oh, see you guys later," and then I'd just leave. It would be a grand exit.
I think you two would need to hit the front of the pack and just set the pace, like team leaders coming through.
Well, race leader, because here's the thing though, is that there can only be one leader on a group ride. So if I show up on the group ride in the full Maglia Rosa, and then I'm like sitting 8th wheel, all of a sudden people think we're actually in the Giro d'Italia. You know what I mean? Like people looking around, they're like, "Oh, well, there's the race leader." Yeah.
No, I know, and that's what's great is they're gonna let you sit in. They're gonna know, oh, that's the race leader. He doesn't need to do any work, and also you can send your other race leader up the road, and they won't know who was who.
Florian continues, couldn't look at that kit from behind and decided to gun it and to drop them. This is what should always be done to dudes wearing full pro kit. My question is, how should I treat other cyclists wearing full pro kit? They don't have to have matching shoes, helmet, or bike. I feel I have to go all in and not leave, and if not, leave that pro kit at home and ride it on your trainer. So basically he's saying, if you're not wearing the matching shoes, helmets, like the full team kit, don't wear it out in public at all. How do you feel on that?
That's crazy. I gotta say, I've owned.
You gotta have a helmet that matches it though. Like you don't want a red helmet and it's like the QuickStep kit.
I mean, but at the same time, like if you're a cycling fan and you're gonna buy your QuickStep kit and you're gonna buy your yellow Lotto kit, you're not gonna buy another pair of shoes and another helmet to match each one, whatever one you're gonna happen to wear. You're just gonna get the black helmet and it's gonna work with both, and the black shoes and it's gonna work with both, and that's fine. Like nobody expects you to go toe to tip like QuickStep. You'd never go full QuickStep, but I have owned several pro team kits. I own a couple now to this day. Like back in the day, I probably wouldn't have worn them in my younger years, but I got them. They kind of fell off the truck there in the warehouse at World Cycling. So I had a CSC kit, and I had...
you had a Credit Agricole kit, right?
I had a Credit Agricole kit, which I think I still have down at the bottom of a box somewhere.
But I bust that one out.
Yeah, I just recently got a Trek Segafredo kit, so I've got that, and I've got a few others on the shelf. So I am not poo-pooing that. I think anybody, you buy a soccer kit, you buy a football jersey, you buy your hockey jersey, like whatever. People support the teams that they like. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I'm not gonna rehash this whole argument. It's been had all over Twitter and everything else. But that's also a personal preference. If you don't want to wear a kit, that's fine. Don't, but as far as dropping folks in Pro Tour kits, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say most folks out there just riding around in a Pro Team kit, you probably won't have too much trouble dropping them. Now that's not always going to be the case, but I think more often than not, maybe you're patting yourself on the back a little bit there for dropping old, Mr. Never Raced Before out on his casual Sunday ride.
I think the only way that I still want to go back to just two guys, I guess 2 women, it could be whoever, just wearing matching world championship kits.
Oh, it's amazing.
I'm kind of thinking, good. Spencer, for our assault on the Natchez Trace ride in Mississippi, right? What if we all showed up wearing a world championship kit? That would be pretty awesome. Like you have just 10 different versions of the world championship kit riding up the side of that parkway.
Well, the problem is that,
no one would get it, but
I'm going to want
really
the Sagan world championship kit. And, little guy's going to probably go for like a Greg LeMond or something weirder.
Team Z.
Yeah, and I don't know what world I know what world championship kit you're going to get. It's the current one. Yeah. So, I probably want to go Tom Boonen, actually, if I think about it. But anyway, I digress. It would be cool. I think multi-world championships kits.
Yeah.
It's just something you never see. I've never considered it before. I've never even thought that it could happen. Like my mind is actually blown over here. I'm still trying to process this. It's incredible.
I wonder what people would wear, but anyway. So before we get going here, Spencer, I in the interest of time, as I was waiting for you to log on, I was over at rollerderby.com and I got a really good laugh when I logged into the only proposition I want to talk about today. Because we covered so much of it on the Let It Ride, but
we did.
Of these riders, who will be the first to abandon the Tour de France? Who do you think is the 4-1 favorite?
Oh man,
everybody there's some really long odds. Like Wout van Aert is at 8-1. He's not even the favorite. I think that Wout van Aert abandoning the Tour de France has actually got a pretty good chance here because those old school team directors are like, oh, we don't want to ruin it.
Right, man. I don't know who's the lead.
Like I logged in, I just kind of started laughing, just like a pity laugh. I was like, man,
that's very good.
How awesome would it be if Richie Porte actually wins the Tour? Like that would be pretty awesome. But then I'm just like seeing this and I'm like, man, the roller derby fans, they just have no faith.
Savage, yeah. So. I love it. Roller derby, if you haven't checked it out, do it. It's a Wide Angle Podium offshoot thing that we've going on. It's free to play. No cost at all. You're playing with fake internet points and you're doing it for bragging rights. So yeah.
And with that, Spencer, I have nothing else. Do you have anything else on your agenda that you want to get to?
No, we are just eagerly anticipating the start of the Tour de France 2019. It's a big year. It's Nairo's year, or somebody else's year. I don't even know. We're excited for this one. More excited than we've been in the past for the Tour de France. And just chomping at the bit. I think, once you get off vacation, once you're well rested, once your recovery your whoop strap is telling you that you're up to date and good to go, we're going to be pumping out some Tour de France content as often as we can. I think we're going to try and churn these out more than once a week if we can here. Maybe some shorter filler episodes. So look forward to that and trying to do all this work.
And so thanks to all the supporters and listeners that have gone over to wideanglepodium.com. Head over there to find out more on how to support the family of podcasts. We'd also like to thank Whoop for their support. Head on over to whoop.com to find out what they can do for you. All you need to do is use the code SLOWRIDE at checkout to save 15%.
Yep.
We'd also like to thank the continued support of healthiq.com/WAP. Head over there to find out how to save some money on your life insurance. Once again, that's healthiq.com/WAP. And finally, Major props to ShredScienceNutrition.com for their continued support.
Let's also thank BK1 of Rhymesayers Entertainment for our intro and outro music. As always, crushing it.
With that, Spencer, we encourage everyone to email us and to also tweet us at the Slow Ride Pod or email us at slowridepodcast@gmail.com. Rate us and review us on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, or wherever you get your podcasts. We appreciate that. Help people find the show. And with that, I'm Tim in Chicago.
And I am Spencer in Boston, Massachusetts, reminding you to always wave at all your fellow cyclists that you see out on the road.
The Slow Ride Podcast. Bikes, advice, and rumors straight from the source. TheSlowRidePodcast.com and on Twitter at TheSlowRidePod.